I'm just saying Warlock is better. Yeah, just Warlock's better. Warlock's better. Just shh. God damn, I'm gonna have to talk about D&D the stream, aren't I? Also, hello, 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 hello. I missed you. Did you miss me? I'm loving this. I love her so much. This music, amazing. It's so, I don't know what to call it, but it's perfect. It's amazing. Mm-mm-mm. First time you've been this early? I know. It's one of the days we're doing just chatting, so you know, you gotta hang out actually this time. So, lovelies, it's melancholy. It's melancholy. It is a step below romance. This is the kind of stuff you write with a broken heart. You know? All right. So, I want to go through everybody here. We've got... Who got first today? Dwarf! Congratulations on first, Dwarf. Congrats, 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 congrats. Dwarf, you got first. We have Bokushima. Thank you for getting second. And Honeydew. Oh, thank you for getting third. Mwah! And then we have all the check-ins. Let's say hello to everybody who's checked in so far. Philip, hi, hi. I'm Boku. Hello, Dwarf. Hello, Nuna. Hi, Nuna. I hope you're enjoying the Korean barbecue. Hello, Moon. Hello, Honeydew. Hello, Aiko. Or O. Or Bo. Or Tomy. I'm calling you Tomy now. I'm taking the back part of your name. Your name's now Tomy. Hello, Ocean. Hello, KC. Hello, Flower. Hi, Flower. Hello, Naptime. Hello, Allie. Hello, Brookie. Hello, Maple. Hello, Gibbets. Hello, Wild Kitten. Hello, Velfine. And hello, I don't know how to say your name. Keeiic. Key. Hi, Key. How you doing? Welcome, 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 everybody. Korean barbecue. I know, I've never had Korean barbecue and I'm so jealous. I've had hot pot. I've had amazing hot pot. I guess we're starting like this today. Okay, so we have 5 minutes of the German. Here we go. Cake. Hello, cake. Hello, cake. Oh, does that mean you're sweet to the taste or are you just fluffy? You're going Korean. Oh no, I froze. I'm getting head pats, I think. There they are. It's terrifying. The head pets freeze every second and they work. I'll need to figure it out one day to figure out why they freeze like that. Oh, Flower, sweetie. Flower. It's okay. You take it easy, okay? I'll be here if you need to talk. Mwah. Let your brain get better. Now, very. All right. Now, start of stream. First off, never had Korean barbecue. Sounds amazing. I've had hot pot, and it is so very, very good. There's this place that I go to. Hello, Vanya. That I, I skip every once in a while. Oh, my brain just shut off. I skip every once in a while. It doesn't make any sense. There's this hot pot place that I go to every once in a while. That is like the most shadiest hot pot place I've ever been to. It is like the wallpaper is peeling, and the people there are clearly just a family. But the food is cheap and it's very good, and it's all you can eat. So my ideal. Now, we have things to talk about today. First off, I got kicked out of the competition, the voice acting competition, which sucks, but it is what it is. There was over 100 entrants, and so I can't imagine that I'm going to be better than every single one of them. But also, I think I might have submitted it wrong. But I'm not sure if I did submit it wrong. And they haven't told me, so it is what it is. But you know what that means? We have more time to do important things. Lots of important things. And they did give one good piece of advice. And you know what that piece of advice was? They told me to back away from the microphone a bit because it bit muffles my words when I get so close. So, we're going to try that today, being the first day where I'm going to be a little bit away from my microphone. I just like the way the microphone feels on my lips. So, you know, you can't blame me for that one. Yeah, I know. It gives me time to do my own things now, yeah? Like, I wanted to do my own little audio records for the new model when we get that. I want to do like an anime-style audio drama. And so, hey, now I have time to work on that. And I have so many projects, so is what it is, right? Dog boy oil Look, you can't make fun of me for my oral fixation. Does this sound better with me a little bit further away? Do I sound a little bit clearer and smoother? I mean, we can be here. I can be here. Stating facts. We fixating on the... Be careful. German kind of makes me think Kurt Wagner Nightcrawler. Really? Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. That is a good one. Ooh. Gino, hello, Gino. Good to see you. It's been a little bit. Yeah, so if I want to be here, and I just really want... So this is ASMR distancing. And this is voice acting distancing. Yeah? Oder actually, technically this is voice acting yeah, there we go. This is a voice acting distance. So we have a little bit of an air gap. Hi, Sif, and hello, Gino, and hello, Kitten, and Honeydew, and Naptime. Naptime, I love you. I love that stupid little booty. How much longer do I have to do this one? 1 more minute. Okay. So. Really? So I can do a sing, so I can go da 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 da. Wait, that's good though. That's good though. Wait a second. German, as in Gene German, Jermn, is fantastic. I love the idea of that. Oh, no. Moreau, you are so real for that. Statistics? I think I failed that class. I think I willingly left that class. Because in my mind it was, oh, everyone has to take statistics. Everyone takes math, and it's always statistics. I hated that class. I hated that class so much. And I got lucky that I had 2 math credits that carried over. And so I didn't have to take any math in college. It was the best because I can't do math. I can count, or I can do some basic math pretty easily. But like, I just get bored. It's the same thing over and 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 over. Why would I want that? Honestly. Okay, next thing, very important. Come here. You know that I like to write, right, chat? You all know that I like to write, right? Like, writing is one of my big things. Okay. I understand. Everyone's like, oh my God, math, programming, it's the same thing. No. Programming is algebra logic. And programming is logic. It is not math. Math and logic are very similar. But programming is algebra logic, and that is it. You don't need anything more than that. Okay? So yes, I love to write. And I had once done, for 1 year, I did NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writers Month. You spend the whole month writing 1,667 words every day. And you're like, oh my, there's so many words. It's not. I have a program that will delete your words if you quit writing for more than 10 seconds. And if you use that program, it took me 30 minutes to write all of those words. Now, my eye started twitching, my hand hurt, I had itching all over my face that I couldn't touch, and I really wanted to blow my nose the entire time, but I nailed it. And it's it's so easy, chat. Like, so here's the plan. We're gonna do it. Not necessarily the way I said we're gonna do it, but during 1 month, we're going to do 2 hours of writing. I'm gonna do a 2-hour writing stream every single day that y'all can join me for, and we're going to try to write our own novel. You don't have to join in. You can just sit there and be there for the ASMR talking and typing bit. I'll put the microphone closer to the keyboard and we'll just kind of vibe while I write. Hi, Foodie. And hello, Night Blossom. Hello, my lovely mod. Always good to see you. But yeah, so we're going to do that. But the reason why I'm doing this at all is because the original NaNoWriMo, which was an amazing event, died. Which kind of sucked.
Gene, we are gonna do it, you dirty puppy.
Goofy. But so the original event did die. And the reason the event died was because the runners of it, we'll just say that, we'll put it as kindly as possible. Controversy, inappropriate actions, with people they shouldn't have been. The CIA got involved, the FBI got involved, and then they started promoting AI as a way to do NaNoWriMo. So yeah, they said a whole thing. Which you know what's funny? It wasn't the scandal that got them canceled. It was them supporting AI to do NaNoWriMo, which is like, not everybody can do it. Yeah, that's the point. Prison sentences didn't stop them. It was the AI thing. So, I want to bring it back. And right now, I'm looking for VTuber writers and like some of the bigger names out there to gauge interest. I recently messaged the lovely Merriweather, who does an amazing comic series, but who is also a fantastic writer, who has felt, lately that they are more like stuck in what they have to write because, that's what succeeds. And so I thought, take the opportunity. I'm going to go send them like a little well-written letter. I'll read it all to you all now if you'd like to hear the letter. Is everybody interested in the letter I wrote them? Or do you always want to hear me read words? I said, hey, this is a shot in the dark, but I wanted to reach out. You've probably heard of NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month, a challenge where writers aim to write 1,667 words a day for a month and end up with a full draft by the end. It was an amazing gateway for so many of us to start writing, but it's fallen off in recent years after some controversies and shift in directions. I want to bring that spirit back, but for VTubers and their communities. The idea is to create a month-long creative event, encouraging both streamers and fans to write together. I'd love to turn it into a celebration of storytelling and creativity in our spaces, with prizes, personal letters for those who complete the challenge, and even on-stream readings of excerpts to spotlight participants. Right now, I'm looking for VTuber writers who might be interested, either as participants, affiliates, or simply to share feedback while I'm shaping the event. Would you be open to chatting about it a bit? I really think this could be something special with the right people behind it. So yeah, I sent that out to Merriweather. We'll see if I hear back. And it's really right now the goal is just to get like a few names involved. If we can get like anybody who's just more interested, I mean, like I've already talked to some VTubers and some of like the medium large VTubers, like more partnered VTubers are definitely willing to be participants. But it's also going to look for more of names who would be more willing to promote the event as well. Will we get there? Who knows? But once I get some like good feedback, then I'm going to like start actually building the event. Because I mean, it's going to take a lot, okay? I'm going to like, my goal is going to be, I have to build a website to do like the tracking so people can input like how much they've written every day. And that's it. That's all I want to do right now. I want to start a website that's going to have that. It's just going to have the thing that you can track how much time you've put in and if you've put in your writing that day. I'll probably use Google to allow people to submit stuff directly to me. That way, I can read a bit. But it's gonna be a lot of work. And that's why I don't want to start doing this if there's no interest. And I know you all are interested. I mean, y'all a bunch of creative, flirty people. But it's getting the right people into it. But also getting the right people into it who don't want to steal it from me then. So we'll see. But I just want to let you all know, like, that is something that's still in the works. Everyone here has flirted to some extent, and I'm glad you all are flirty. That means you're, like, healthy adults. I think flirting shows a healthy brain. If you can flirt well, it shows a healthy brain. That's fair. That's fair. Well, it's okay if you're not a flirt. You're at least creative. Every single one of you is creative. I have seen the stuff you've done, from singing to building entire worlds in Minecraft to doing art and writing, and y'all are some very talented people. And I'm very proud of you. I am genuinely proud of you. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else to talk about right now, like that is important? Oh, most definitely. No, you are doing that. I'm not trying to. That's happening. Sorry, I just had a friend message me something. Sorry, I got distracted there. What were we talking about, chat? I'm proud of you for all of you being such creative, cool people. Oh, thank you for the pats. Mm-hmm. I love that head pat. I like that head pat. It's so much better than everyone else's head pat. You've seen everybody else's, right? Where it's like the super fast hand movements. No, I like mine. Mine is cute. Oh no, I froze. What's happening? Is the bonk activating? Is the bonk? Why? Why? Why are you so mean to me? But you are cool, at least. No, everyone is creative here. I know you all are creative. I've seen the way you act and the way you do things. You're just cool, okay? Accept it. Accept it. I am fan of my fans. Honestly, though, like the talent that is here, the amount of cool artistic people, the amount of... Anyways, I'm not gonna gush over all of you. But I'm happy that you all do things. Even if you don't feel confident in it, being able to do something creative, especially if you're not confident in it, is alone something to be proud of. I don't hate you, Crucy. I don't hate anybody. Don't you worry. I can get upset with some of you. And I have. But here's something that I learned through a lot of therapy. Our emotions are our responsibility. People don't cause your emotions. Your emotions are how you react to situations. And understanding your emotions and how to handle them is very important for adult growth and being a successful person. I'm not mad at you right now, Vanya. But yeah. Okay. Now we can talk about stupid things. Because, wait, is there anything else important? Okay. Didn't go further in the voice acting competition. My roommate scared the me. I have sleep, cuddling. I had woken up to say good morning, and the fact that was goofy. Okay. Voice acting competition. Over. Not doing any D&D right now. We're still doing Halloween events this month. So, until Halloween's over, it's going to be mostly horror, poetry, and Minecraft. Because I love Minecraft. And I found some horror mods for Minecraft that are really cool, like Minecraft Walking Dead. We might be playing that. Okay. Oh, shoot. I forgot to say sorry for that, y'all. Nah, try not to be a VA. And if you get, good at VAing work, I have the guy who did my voice acting demo, as long as you have good equipment, like decent equipment, he can do a lot of work with you. His prices are fair, and I'm happy to throw anybody his way if you do stuff. I know, I already said hi. I already apologized to Dar Vanya. I already apologized to Dar Vanya. But yeah, it was kind of awful this morning. I woke up at 8 to corn blasting. Now, the funny thing is, my alarm was set for 4 a.m. That means I was sleeping for 4 hours to corn blasting. And for those of you who haven't heard corn, I mean, let's listen to corn real quick. No, not corn. Here. This band. This is what I woke up to. Yeah. Well, okay, I'll spell it properly. It's spelled... But the R is backwards. Because, of course, it was the 90s and, early 2000s. I don't know why my head, everything, is 90s, when most of these bands that I listened to were early 2000s bands. Wow, this was 18 years ago. Was Corn late night? Okay, wait. It wasn't late 90s. I mean, they might have gotten popular in late 90s. They formed in 1993. I feel better now. And they became popular in the late 90s. There we go. Anyways, yeah. So I woke up to this song playing. And I was snoozing hardcore. And then I go to my phone and I see all these messages. And so I messaged everybody back being like, hey, sorry, I kind of overslept. And everyone's like, yeah, you probably needed the sleep. And so I just went back to sleep. Yeah, which was great. I slept so much, chat. I have slept pretty much all day. I woke up finally at 11, made some flatbreads. Made myself a chili, a quick, easy chili. And after that, I went and got my meds. Bought myself groceries for 3 weeks. I'm pretty much going to be only eating butter chicken because I found my good curry chicken recipe that is so easy and lazy that I'm just like, it's all I'm going to do now. That's all I want. Until it becomes no longer a favorite food. I'm going to eat this every single day. But yeah. I didn't get gummy worms. Actually, I made sure not to buy candy. I did buy $20 worth of Arizona tea because they were on sale for 88 cents a can. So I'm going to have a lot of that. I have rice. I have rice. Oh, 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 oh. My heart stopped. My heart stopped. I was like, I have no rice. I'm going to make butter chicken and everything with no rice. What am I going to eat with my butter? You need rice. I have rice. We're good. We're good. I have so much rice. I go to this Asian grocery store next to my work. And you can do bread. You need to have rice. And they, if ever a bag of rice gets damaged, which God, I love them so much. Oh, and there's this nerdy person there that I'm like, I want to be friends with you. How do I tell you that I'm a VTuber so that you'll be friends with me? But no, they do this thing like if any of the bags of rice get damaged, they just put it in a big brown paper bag, and like discount $3 off. Buy rice. I'm like, yes, I can buy already cheap rice, even cheaper. It's the best. But they're nerdy. Can I just feel like I'm a streamer? No. I will say one person at work, which is okay. The one person at work knows I'm a VTuber, but they're also alternative and attractive, and chill. So like they're okay. But I wasn't smart when I thought about it because like I needed to DM them about something. Like, oh, add me on Discord. I'm like, okay, here's my Discord. And they're like, oh, cool. Your stream's attached to this. Right. But I have one coworker who keeps being like, I'm going to find your stream. And I'm like, no, you're not. And he's like, hey, I found your stream this weekend. And I'm like, really? Yeah? What was the name? I didn't find your stream. I knew you didn't. I told them, I'm not showing you my stream until I leave this place. So once I leave this work job, I will show you. But Gene at work and Gene on stream are totally different people. So we are not mixing those. Because I don't want like my coworker to come in here accidentally and me be like, oh, hello there, pretty. And then them come to me at work the next day going like, oh, so you think I'm pretty. Chat, we're going to pretend I'm at work. Ready? Hello, this is Lucky Gene speaking. How can I help you? Well, what do you need? All right. Give me just a second. I'll remote into your computer. Well, have you restarted it recently? No? Okay, please restart it. You don't want to restart it? Please? Yeah, I don't know how many times I've had that conversation. Did I ever tell you about the Amazon guy who flirted with me when I did a call to like report my phone? My package never showed up. Oh. Which bad one? You're gonna have to give me an insight, Vanya, if you can tell me like what exactly you're talking about, because I have a lot of random ones. 1 million items? I need a little bit more. Oh, it's more of a thing of like, so I called the Amazon guy. And, hey, Night Blossom, do you need some help with your PC sometime? Legitimately. Thank you for the hydrate. $1 million items are being recycled. This sounds really familiar. Wait. I sent photos of it? Oh. I might have blacked it out. I might have blacked it out. I might have just gotten rid of that memory completely. If you can find the photo and send it to me, I will remember the story, but I think I blacked out all of that. Okay. Indian guy. I'm assuming he was Indian. He had the accent. So Pakistani guy also potentially. I call Amazon complaining that my package is gone. He's like, oh, okay, I'm sorry to hear that. But like, hey, how are you doing? I'm like, I'm doing pretty good. Like, I guess, how are you doing? He's like, yeah, I'm doing good. Like, you have a nice voice. And I'm like, oh, cool, yeah. So the package, he's like, yeah. I'm putting in the stuff, but like, how's the weather there? And like, what kind of place do you live? And I'm like, oh, I live in this kind of, I don't know, like, what does this matter? And he starts telling me about like his life and where he's living, and like, you can tell he's trying to put every little bit of conversation in it to like keep me on the phone talking longer. Bet Night Blossom will schedule some time, and it was cute, but how you doing? He did. It was, oh well, I needed my package, and also like, chat, I kind of like the flattery, and the second somebody starts like talking like, I really like your voice, I'm like, yeah, really? Me too. What do you like about it? Pinky, behave yourself. All right, so I got to do this voice now. Are we doing one of these things here? We do. Now we're going back in the throat. I'm going to go back in the throat. All right, here we go. Oh! I remember this. Oh, really? What do you like about my voice? Oh, well, Mark said I love talking to people, so that's the difference between you and me. All right, so I ain't gonna show you all the image because it's gonna give a little bit of away where I work. But so here's what happened. Chat, I'm about to introduce you to some simple PC concepts. All right. So, if you have a sign-in for a computer. You sign into a computer, it's going to create an instance on that computer with that username, right? So let's say my username is 123 and your username is 1234. So I sign in, bam, you got instance 1, 123. You sign in, now we have 1234. Well, now you have another person sign in, and you have another person sign in, and you have another person sign in. You keep building instances, and every one of them instances come with their own files. Like maybe some instances can share Microsoft Office or something, but some stuff cannot be shared. All right, so when people were bringing on, thank you for the stretch. So there are multiple sites that work at my company, right? Like there'll be site number 1, site number 2. I'm at headquarters and I do IT for all of them. Well, a site called in because this guy's computer was getting really, really full and really, really busy. And I'm like, all right, what are you doing? Saving a bunch of files? No. Every time he got a new person, which, by the way, in this field, it's expected to have like high turnover. You'll have somebody who's just on for a season and they leave. Anytime he had a new employee, he'd have them sign in to his computer. Every single one of them would sign into his computer. So I get onto his computer. There is a million files and items and stuff that I have to delete. It took me hours just sitting there deleting all the other users off of the computer, which is mostly just me sitting there watching to make sure it's actually happening. It was insane. This is why you don't do this. Because they don't need to. That there was over 1 million items that had to be deleted. So, yeah. Apparently he does this at least like once a year, because every single employee in that factory or company or whatever kind of building he works in, I'm not exactly sure, would sign in to his computer when they got on there. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. So yeah. And by the way, these weren't like files people had from being on that computer. This was because every single time somebody signed in, it would recreate all the files for a new user. It gets worse. We have a training program, and that training program completely reinstalls itself for every single person who tries to access it on that computer. So if you have 30 people on there, you have 30 instances of that program, which each one of them has at least 60 gigabytes worth of training documents on it. So 30 times 60. Alexa, what's 30 times 60?
30 times 60 is 1,800.
That's a terabyte. That's a terabyte of data right there. Horrible. Horrifying. But yeah, it is what it is, you know? It is what it is. That's the kind of thing that we have to deal with. And that is the most efficient way that man thought to work on that computer. I mean, it's not, but hey, it is what it is. So, I want to talk about what I bought today for food, though. I bought crab. Y'all want to know what my dinner was tonight, chat? Pre-shelled crab legs with melted butter for $10. Like a pound of crab meat, if not more. It was amazing. I'm so happy. That's my girl. That was my girl failure meal. I mean, do y'all know what a server closet is? I don't know why. I know none of this is like interesting to anybody here. Oh, it was so good. It was so good. But I want to tell y'all what a server closet is. Y'all have a closet, has cables and junk in it. There's a bunch of stuff, either like file servers and all sorts of things. Sometimes it's just like where everything connects in the middle to connect to internet. All right. I used to work at a hospital. There was one where I'd look at it, and it looked like an eldritch being. There was cables everywhere. It was so many cables that you could not see the ports they plugged into. The easiest way I found to find an open port was to lay on the ground, lay on my back, look up at the cables, and then try to find a single spot where there might be something missing. And then you'd finagle the cable through all the other cables, slowly lifting your way up in between them, and you hope it was an active port. Because if it weren't, guess what? We got to do it again. It's awful. I hate it. This is why you need to maintain your stuff, chat. I mean, I've been watching some anime recently. Oh, what's the one called? Akko, sweetie, where you at? I was watching 2 anime. One of the anime you suggested for me. Gachikuta or something like that. Gachikuta. I know if that's the name right now. But what was the one anime? The gotcha one? The one with the trash and stuff? Enjoy your doom scrolling. Yeah, that one. I don't know how to pronounce it. Really great. Amazing. I don't remember what's going to say about it anymore, chat. My brain's dead. My brain's gone. Somebody take over. Who's taking over stream? Raise your hand if you want to be the new streamer. All right, Vanya, stream from right there. Lead the way. Hey, don't see my stream. No, don't you dare steal my stream ski. I need that. Mine. How dare you try to steal it. And now we're back to normal. Okay, sweet. So I'm in the gym tonight. Uncle, I'm just listening to the Laufey playlist. Hypothetically, Vanya. Hypothetically. All right, chat. We need some content ideas right now. Let's make some content. Are you ready? I need you all to yell something mean at me, and then I can cry, and then I can make a post about how my chat hates me and bullies me all the time, okay? You ready? Bully me. Y'all, my voice is mid. No. That's too personal. It's too personal. Why out of everything you could have chosen, you chose my voice? I try so. It's colored like a ketchup. I can't. Y'all really coming after you all? Yeah, I mean, at least y'all know me. At least you all really know me, because you know what would hurt me. You burnt rice. We're not gonna. You live in a set. I do not live in a set. It's a normal dungeon. It's a normal. You're fine. Fine. We'll go to. Potatoes. Don't spread lies. All right, I forgot about the Alt Tab button. I haven't fixed it yet. Driving in my car. It's fine, chat. I have a plan. We're gonna do something. All right, where is it? Is this a button? No, that's the ear button. This is the button. Oh wait. That is. Button's still broken. I gotta fix that one. And here we are. 3, 2. All right, chat. We're going for a ride. Oh, that's a good idea. Chat, give me a second. I have an idea. Chat gets to drive shotgun. All right, chat. Where are we going? We need some tunes. Chat, what are we playing? What kind of music do we want? Should I pick like car driving music? You want to? All right. Let's see if I can find like a. You know what? Don't fall. Hey! Wait! I can't drive. I can't turn around. Can somebody like throw a rope back to Addy before we leave? Can somebody throw back a? Oh, we just hit a bump. It's fine. Don't worry about it. We're hitting some bumps, chat. It's a little bumpy here. Oh, there we go. This is really chill. Do y'all just want to hang out? What if I just did this for like 8 hours? We just went on a drive. I get snacks. Oh, hi, Carmia. Mwah. Hello, Carmia. You know, we're just going to go on a drive. We need car noises. Let me see if I can find like late night car noises. Oh, I love this. Oh, this is the best. Wait, we need rain. I need rain. Give me a second while I pull in the rain effect. Oh, sorry. Can somebody grab Addy? Can somebody pull Addy in, please? Why are we just twerking? You know, I'll pull in Addie. Addie, come here. There we go. You're back, Addie. Anyway, I'm gonna remove the border, and that way I feel a little bit better about my outline. Where am I? Okay, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Transform outline. We're gonna lower the outline. All right. Do we feel like we're atmospheric now? We're driving. We're driving in the car. You want? Oh, fine. I'll see if I can find Canes. Give me a second. What do you want from Canes? Chat. We're gonna stop by Canes. What do people want? A piece? Okay. We'll get some Canes. This is gonna take me a second. Give me a bit. Chat, I'm making an asset right now. No. There's a kind of Texas toast that Canes gets. Canes gets a lot of cool stuff, though. You know, whatever's on the menu? Fine. We'll get you some food, okay? It's gonna take a little while to order. I'm not photoshopping an asset right now. I don't know what you're talking about, chat. That's crazy. Love don't come easy. It's a bitter day. Na, 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 na. I'm lazy. Asset making. Let's go. Almost there. Perfect. What kind of car is this? I honestly don't know, but it works, you know? It works pretty well, so I'll take it. All right, chat, there's your Canes. Enjoy your Canes. Just make sure y'all share, okay? Make sure we're sharing, okay? Should we stop anywhere else? Or is this good? Everybody good with Canes? Don't bonk me. Hey, I'm driving here. Hey. Bad. Whataburger? Ah, fine. Starbucks? All right. Fine. We're going by. Where are we going? Whataburger first? What are we getting? Do. Now you're making up places. They ain't making up places. They would never do that. And the hunt time after you. Mm-hmm. All right, we got another one, chat. Mm-hmm.
Why am I in the trunk? Get me out, I just woke up.
Wait, oh, hi, Pink. Chat, if we just leave them there, do you think they'll notice?
Look out, there's a deer.
What do you mean there's a deer? Oh no. Chat. I'm not sure I can dodge this one. I don't think I can. Oh god. Oh no.
Get me out of the trunk.
Don't worry about those bumps. It's fine. There were.
Gene, we need Brahms.
It's fine. I'm sure the deer is fine, chat. I'm sure it's fine. Nothing. We didn't run over anything. What do you mean? Huh? Nothing. All right. I got the Whataburger order. Give me a second.
Hey, Gene. Why is
Yeah?
there a noise coming from the trunk?
There's no noise back there. There's nothing back there. What do you mean?
Sorry, Pink, I'm under Gene's orders because he fed me today. I'm securing the boot tighter.
All right, chat. Someone ordered Whataburger?
Gene, the car is smoking. Is that normal?
Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. It's it's fine. Don't worry about it. We have Whataburger
Just knocks
now.
aggressively on the roof of the trunk. Get me out of here.
We can keep stealing. That's not a bacon avocado burger. What do you mean a
Gene,
bacon
we can't
avocado?
keep stealing and messing up cars.
Fine. We'll go back to Whataburger later. You'll just have to eat this for now, okay? Just pretend there's an avocado on it like every millennial. All right. Fine. Let's go get Starbucks. What are we getting from Starbucks? Mm-hmm. Pumpkin spice latte. Okay. Okay, you know what? I'll see what I can do. Venti size? Do you have venti size money?
Eel short circuit this shit and fry you all. Get me out of here now.
Okay, fine. Somebody can let Pink out. Somebody can let Pink out this time.
Gene, the back tire is on fire now.
What do you mean the back tire? Put the fire out. I'm too busy trying to get the order right now. You can handle this. Y'all are grown-ups. Y'all are quote-unquote grown-up. I mean, as close as we're getting. Let's... Mm-hmm. Na, 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 na. You want a vanilla latte? Fine. We'll get a couple. How many drinks?
Thank you.
How
for
many
getting
drinks
me
do
out.
we need? Chat, we're gonna need a count. Just tell me how many drinks there are, and we'll get that many. Is everybody getting a drink?
Pink, I'm dipping you into my cane sauce.
Don't dip Pink in cane sauce.
Vanya, get away from me.
You'll pay for yours? Okay. Here, I'll throw a few drinks out. We got a few drinks. They're coming right now.
You say we're grown-ups, but treat us like children.
Well, you keep acting like children.
I am big and hungry tonight. I will eat chat.
I will eat all of chat. All right, here, we got a few drinks. Y'all can share a little bit.
I'm jumping out of the car. Don't bump me by.
Why do you want exclusively KFC No, don't jump, Pink. Why do you want exclusively the KFC mashed potatoes? Why exclusively the KFC mashed potatoes? Why not any of the other food?
Ring, 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 click. Gene, you left me at the base and the flock is making weird noises. Please come back quick.
You're fine, right? All right, here we go.
Can I get an order of 6 egg tarts from KFC if we're stopping by? Thank you.
What do you mean egg tarts? What do you mean egg tarts?
Dead on the road.
Don't be... Okay. There. We have your Starbucks. Enjoy your Starbucks, chat. This is so goofy. Why am I having fun with this? Okay. KFC. We'll go get some KFC. It's up here. One of these are yours. What is Wagamamas? That doesn't sound like a real thing. Okay.
Gonna crawl into the trunk.
Can we get 10 takeaways from Five Guys?
Okay. Brahms? Okay, we're gonna look up what Brahms is. It doesn't sound like a real place.
Don't forget my Brahms and Wawa.
Brahms restaurant. Wow. Apparently it's only in certain places. That's interesting. What? No, it's fine. It's fine. I won't crash too much. Okay. Brahms. Oh, it's an ice cream place or a burger place? Found it. Oh, this one's going to be a pain to make. Wawa is a gas station. All right, give me a second, chat. I got to make this asset real quick. Oof. I died.
Chat, if there's a Dairy King, where's the Dairy Queen?
That's a good question. Where is the Dairy Queen King? Yeah. Yeah, chat. Explain. Explain, chat. I need answers. I need answers right now.
I think I fell out the trunk. Can you come pick me back up?
Okay. Give me a second. We're turning around. Somebody grab Hoshi while we drive by, and then grab
I want
Pink's...
the ice cream, but they also have burgers, and is a grocery store.
Grab Pink's body and Hoshi as we drive by, okay? Who's reaching out? Who's got him? Okay, you ready? We're getting up. We're coming close. We're close to the bodies. All right, 5, 4, 3. Perfect. Good. Does anybody know, like, magic that we can, like, bring back Pink? I mean, like, I can bring him back if he burned. But I'm not sure if I can bring Pink back if they've just, like, thrown themselves out. Cool. Try your best. Do whatever rituals you need to do, and we'll do that. All right, I got the Brahms. Let me add another one. And there it is. It comes with a chocolate shake, some fries, a burger. There you go. Enjoy it, chat. You can't find a shark blanket. Fine. I'll see if I can find some blankets. Chat, what kind of blankets do you want?
Ring, 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 click. Gene, there's people in suits and something about tax evasion. Do I feed them to the flock or get the tasers?
Do not pay the taxes. That's a good question. If it's the IRS,
What's
leave
your
them to the
favorite
basement.
fast food place, and what's your go-to order?
Just take him to the basement and just lock them away. We'll figure out what to do with them later. And if they do happen to get eaten by the flock, I mean, hey.
Are we there yet? I
do you-
think I lost Wi-Fi back here and Tired is hogging the data.
Nap time. Share the data. Share the data with other people. And we're just driving. I don't think we have a goal. All right, I got some blankets. I found some blankets. Just let me get them nice.
Can
ready
we stop
for
by
you.
Bushy's?
Stop by where? That's a made-up place. Y'all are making up places now. Butchies? I don't know what my favorite fast food place. Schlotzky's. I don't know why it's Schlotzky's. But I love Schlotzky's. The best. One of the best places. They have such weird sandwiches.
Gene, there's some cars with flashing lights behind us. Should I drop the bombs?
Just flip them off and just throw things at them. Whatever you got, throw it at them. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. Buc-ee's? Oh, yeah, we can go to Buc-ee's. Wait, don't we have to? They don't have a drive-through though. All right, chat. I got some blankets. Make sure to share the blankets, chat. Okay? Share the blankets. Hey, we'll put the blankets over here. I don't know where to put them. We're running out of space. Okay. Oh. Chat, I'm having difficulty seeing over all the stuff. Help. I can't. Can somebody move the drinks, please? They're gonna fall over. Okay, we need to go back. We're going. Who left all these deers out here? Who left all these deers, chat? Who left the deers out? Huh? No, we're just. I can't. I'm not gonna. Well, there it goes. Y'all, why don't they just move the deer crossing sign, chat? Like, it's not safe for the deer to. You spilled! Use the blanket to dab it up. Why don't they move the deer crossing? Like, clearly this isn't a safe place for deer to cross. They should cross somewhere else. Like, put the sign somewhere else. The deer will cross at a different part of the road. Oh, there's a. Okay, well, nope, there's more. Okay.
Gene, not trying to make it more difficult, but I think I'm falling out of the car.
What? Just don't fall out of the car. We gotta go back for Gibbets. Gibbets, I'm coming, Gibbets. Okay, we're turning.
Gene, can we get yarn so I can make custom scarves for everyone?
Yeah, no, we can stop for yarn. I got this, chat. I got this. We're gonna find the yarn store. Give me a second. You so vain. Probably think this song is about
Father,
you.
the others are biting each other back here, and I might join in.
No fighting! What did I say about fighting? Huh?
Ring, ring.
Hello?
Ring, ring.
Hello?
Click. Indescribable, horrid, wet crunching sounds and periodic screaming.
Okay.
The dark deed is done.
Yay! Proud of you. Good job. You did very, very well. We'll allow you back in the car.
I just looked at the stream. What in the holy whiplash?
Oh, we're just getting some food. It's fine. But don't worry about it. We're gonna stop by the yarn store real quick. Oh, wait a second. So give me a sec while we go to the Okay, I got this, chat. I am promising a song is about you, don't you. Got it. Got it. Wait, where'd it go?
Someone took my fries and I'm hungry. I'm gonna crash out and start screaming.
Hey, no taking people's fries. It didn't work. It didn't work. Oh no! Where is it? Where'd it go? Chat, we've entered the void. We've entered the void. I don't know what to do about it.
Who the fuck keeps kicking the back of my seat? I'm going to eat you.
No swearing, chat! What did I say about swearing? Swearing is bad. Here's what we're gonna do. Well, I think I broke it. I think I broke this.
Gene, I need to pee.
What do you mean you need to pee?
Driving in my car right after a beer.
Did you not pee before?
I'm opening the window. It's hot in here. And I still don't have my fries back.
Okay. Well, look. Well, because I've lost the background. Oh, there it is. We're going to pull this up again.
If fifth crash out of the day, I'm going to contribute to the trout population.
Don't contribute to... No, okay, I got this, Chat. It's fine, we don't need to.
Man, does anyone see the car behind us? They seem to have weapons. So, Father, what do we do?
Wait, they have what? What do they... What? Hoshi? Okay, Hoshi. You're gonna find a spare tire back there in the trunk with you. You're gonna need to pick it up and throw it at them and hope it hits the car. Can you do that for me? Throw it at the car, I believe in you. You got this.
Throw fire.
That works too. Fire also works. I messed up. Where's my outline? There it is. Gone with the outline.
There's too many people in here. I'm going to ride on the outside of the car.
No, don't. You're going to fall off the car. You're going to fall. There they go. Did anybody tie a rope to them first, or are they just... How many times am I going to have to turn back for these people? Okay, give me a second. Hang out the car door. Grab them when we go by. It's fine. It's fine. We got this one. Are you ready?
Father, I'm free flying through the air.
No, don't let them... Grab them. We'll get a bigger car. That's all I could afford.
You are now on the fastest available route.
The fastest available route to... Who set the GPS? Where's the GPS taking us? Did anybody actually pay attention to where the GPS was taking us? Oh, Gibbets, right. Chat, I forgot. Gibbets! Gibbets, are you home?
I threw the tire, but we seemed to see the car flop, but... Since I did that, the cops saw me, sorry.
Got it. Okay, well, we're gonna park for just long enough for Gibbets to get in the car.
Turn left
Okay.
over the broken bridge.
All right, Gibbets, are you ready? All right, Gibbets, get in the car. Gibbets, come on, get in the car.
I thought we were going off-grid.
Yeah, I can only afford free stolen car.
This car was stolen, Gene Wadham. It was the only one you could afford.
All right, thank you, Gibbets. Okay, now we can go. All right.
It's raining, the roof is leaking now, and there's another Dear Gene.
There's another oh, not the deer again. Fine. It's fine, chat. It's fine. I know what to do. We're just going to speed up a little bit.
Turn off your headlights.
And, there it goes. There we go. Turn off my headlights. Oh? Okay. I turned off the lights. What are we doing now? Why do we turn off the headlights?
Father, someone threw my Switch out the window.
Wait, there's something out there. Chat, there's something in the road. The car quit moving. Well, I mean, the car powered off, chat. It's coming closer. Chat, it's coming closer. Does anybody know how to jumpstart a car? I didn't actually have the keys for this. It was just working. Did anybody have gas? Something's wrong with the car and something's coming towards me. Did I fill the tank? No, why would I fill the tank?
Father, I would like some pizza.
You would like... No, that we can't... You... What do you mean you didn't want...
Guys, Ricky spawned out of nowhere and then he ran away.
Chat, I think the GPS was leading us here.
Is this a bad time to mention I couldn't lock the flock back in the basement? They hit Adiagene.
Okay, quick. We're gonna. I turned the car back on. The car's back on. Okay.
Father,
okay.
I see a man walking towards the car, and he doesn't seem nice.
Wait. I saw a message.
Father, I turned the car back on.
We got this. All right. Where's the?
This is why we should have gone to Boosie's.
We should have gone where? We should have gone where? Can we get Johnny Doe Pizza? We'll look it up. I'll see if we can find one. We should have gone to Boosie's. Okay. Car's moving again. It's fine. And now, lights are back on. All right, we got this. We're fine.
Guys, I found Ricky. Wait, don't leave without me.
Let's go to Boosie's. I know, right?
At least
I'm
the
glad
car
music's
plays
still playing
good
well.
music.
Make a U-turn in 30 minutes. Your destination is in front of you.
Father, can I be the one to push the gas pedal?
What? What do you mean? You want to just push the gas pedal for... Okay, you know what? Fine. Moreau, you can sit on... I guess you'll sit on my lap, or do you want to just, like, be on the ground? How are we doing this? We're also looking for Johnny Doe's Pizza. Okay. Oh, that's some nice looking pizza. You know, I'll take it. Gene,
can I steer, but from the outside of the car?
Why from the outside of the car? Also, is the cop still back there? Hoshi, are you still dealing with the weird guy approaching from the back? All right, I found the pizza, chat. I found the pizza. Give me a second. It's a little bit low poly, but it's fine. Don't worry about the low graphics on my pizza, okay?
We speed right past some cops, Father. Do you think that is worth doing? And no, the SWAT truck is here now.
What do you mean the SWAT truck? What do you mean the... Wait, since when am I...
I'm going full throttle.
When did I become father? All right, well, apparently I have children now. Is that how it happens? You steal a car, you take a bunch of random people, and now you're a dad? I mean, I guess weirder things have happened. All right, well, we'll escape. It's fine, chat. It's fine. It's fine.
That explains the MPREG emote.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay. This is the last bit of food we're bringing in right now. So enjoy your pizza. Even if it's a little bit, you know, distorted. There we go. We'll stick the pizza up there in the corner.
Were you unaware that you adopted us, Father?
I don't think anybody asked my consent, and I thought you had to consent to adoption, but you know. I'm sure it's fine. Hello, Lady Bredicus. Yeah, we're currently
Heck yeah, a dad
on a
that's
car
teaching me.
ride.
Activating defense machinery. Deploying double miniguns. Ready to fire towards multiple assailants located behind the vehicle.
Chat, who installed that? You do not need to jump out. Why do you need... Fine. We'll slow down a little bit. We'll slow down. Just... You have 1 minute, Addy. I guess, activate the, defense weaponry? Just go for it. That makes sense. You all have
It's more
imprinted
like
on
ducks. Everyone imprinted on you.
me. Yep. I don't know. I just kind of found this car. I don't know what I did, but,
Yeah, I signed the contract for you. Also, I forgot it's not undoable due to Magic Ink. Sorry.
Well... Yeah. Y'all make very cute ducks.
Father, I blew up the SWAT truck.
I guess that's good. Yeah. What do you mean the bank is gonna blow up? I thought you said you're stopping at a... What did I say to... All right, chat. They started us as going to go hang out and getting fast food, and now why have we committed so many crimes? No, 10 and 2. Oh, okay, wait, 10, 2. I got this.
Defense mechanism
It's
is now
fine.
set to
We won't kill any
automatic.
more people.
Firing registered ammunition to targets. Approximated fire time. 45 minutes. Please sit tight.
Oh. You demand hazard pay? What do you mean? I'm not
Why do I get
paying
the
you.
feeling I'm going to feed more people in suits to the flock? I demand hazard pay.
This is all right. You know what? We're gonna go to the beach, chat. We're gonna go to the
I'm
beach.
bringing out my minigun.
Don't bring out a minigun. No minigun. No minigun. Keep the
Father, I
minigun
hope
away.
you don't mind, but I brought cats and dogs in the car.
All right, we're just gonna go to the beach, chat. We're gonna go to the beach. It's gonna be
We
nice
gonna
and fun.
always commit crimes and I be shaking booty.
Well, once I can find the beach, I gotta find the beach first. I can't control anybody. I can't control anyone. All right. Can I? 1 second. I got this, chat. I got this. I'll find something here. Okay.
At this point, chat be better villains than you.
I mean, no. There we go. I found it, chat. I found the beach. Okay. Give me a second while I get the beach. Just you all be patient.
Hello,
Somebody
Gene.
turn off the guns.
Am I safe here? I brought chamomile and lavender tea with me. Lucky J34 Fingy.
Throw out the air tag. Throw out the air tag. Throw out the air tag. Throw out the air tag.
Left
Okay.
side of the vehicle has been heavily damaged due to foreign interference. Deploying stage 2 of defense mechanism.
Y'all can swim
Automatic railgun now active.
in the ocean. It's fine. Thank you for the sub. You don't need anything. It's fine. We'll make it to the beach. It's gonna be fine, chat. I need to get the beach. And once I have the beach, everything will be okay. No, somebody help Addy with the air tag.
Father, the gas pedal is broken. It won't stop anymore.
What'd you do, Moreau? What did you do, Moreau? Why is the gas pedal? Why is the gas pedal stuck? Why is the gas? Okay, throw. Okay. Throw out the air tag. Somebody fix the gas pedal. And the brake isn't working either. Okay, look. If we go to the beach, we'll get stuck in the sand, and the sand will be fine, okay? And then we're good. That's all we need.
For her, I think I broke in the car. There's a hole into flooring.
Okay. It's fine. We're almost at the beach. We're right there. We're going to hit the sand. It's going to be a little bumpy, but you'll all be fine, okay? I believe in all of you.
I'm crying we're all gonna die.
Oh, the size is totally wrong. Don't worry about the size, chat.
Heavy militia has been located 200 FT in front of the vehicle. Deploying missiles.
One second.
I'm sorry, Father. I didn't mean to break it.
All right.
Are you telling me I have to go in the ocean?
We've made
Yankee?
it. We made it, chat. Welcome to the ocean. Welcome to the ocean.
Can I drown myself in the sea?
No. Don't drown yourself in the sea. Don't drown yourself in the sea. Why would you? All right. Thank you for the headbats. No drowning yourself in the sea. Y'all can go swimming. Y'all can go play in the sand. It'll be okay. Don't jump in the sea and Now we need beach music. It's time for beach music, chat.
Father, we see a shark pulling tired by their feet. Are we gonna watch and not do anything?
Oh, there was a Leola Deem. Sorry. But, I need to stay in the car. Y'all can try to save them, okay?
Though it's been a fun time riding in this really messed up car, I think I'm going to take this time to check in with management.
But who's management? Baby shark, do, baby shark, do.
Father, I forgot I can't swim.
All right, one of you is going to have to save them. I'm not getting out of the car. I am comfortable here.
Baby shark, do, baby shark, do.
It's so fast. You go save them, okay? You got this. I believe in you. It's good. Proud of you. God is Why are you talking to God? What does he have to do with this? Look, he has nothing to do with this.
Can I pet the shark cage?
You can... No. Do not pet the shark. It's fine. We need better beach music. What is this one?
Is the water editable?
No! Editable or edible? I cannot change the water. The water is what it is. Why do you want to change the water?
Can I become a mermaid and run away?
You can try to be a mermaid? Do not drink the water. No, it's salt. Salt is so bad for you. The salt water is not good for you. Do not. Do not drink the water.
But I want to pet the shark, Gene.
Okay.
I pull off the tire. If you stay in the car, then we're not going back home. SimH?
But look, no, I got to stay in the car just in case something happens. I drank the water.
Guys were playing mermaids. What's your tail color and superpowers?
All right, y'all enjoy your mermaids.
I drank the water. It tastes like toilet water. Gene, what beach did you take us to?
I mean, it's right next to the plant. It's fine. Wie geht's dir weiter? Warte. Hallo, Lady. Wie geht's? Na, alles geht gut mit mich. Mit mir? Mein Deutsch ist nicht so gut. Ich kann das nicht sehr gut sprechen.
My tail is blue and pink, and I'm gonna be a waterbender now.
Appears from the water. I'm alive. Ah, Pink is back. Hello, Pink. Did anybody? No one managed to resurrect Pink, did they? Oh no,
Rising
that's
appears
not
from
good.
the water. I am alive, motherfuckers.
Wait, chat, is the water glowing? Did anybody, like, feel a little bit woozy getting into the water? Mm-hmm. I don't think this beach is a good beach. This might be very... Hello, vampire. All right, chat.
I'm
I think-
hiding in the back seat. Y'all have fun.
I think we're going to need all of you to get back in the car.
Gene, why am I growing fins?
Okay, chat, get back in the car. Chat, get back in the car. We need to leave here. This is not a good beach. This is not a good
Gene, there's
beach.
a kraken in the ocean. You didn't tell me it just ate me.
What's your power level, Link? What's your power level? Chat, we need to go somewhere else. Okay,
I think I poured all the funny stuff in the water by mistake.
Where do we want to go? Can I bring back my fish? If it's not alive, leave it. It's
Who
dead
took my
fish.
spot in the trunk?
Leave. Disney, we can't. That's copyrighted. We can't go there.
What's your mermaid power level?
We can go to a different amusement park. Let me see if I can find an amusement park. Okay, give me a second, chat. We'll see if I can find one. It'll take a little while to get there, though.
Let's go to Galveston.
Okay, what do we have here?
Let's go to Hotel Transylvania.
Hotel. Alton Tower, I can show you the world. Fine.
I can show you the world.
Chat, I have an idea. I have an idea, chat.
I foi says as yet. I quite sorry Corninque. And to go to Disney World thug.
Well, we can't go to Disney World. Look, I can't afford Disney World for everybody. So what are we going to do? Does anybody have Disneyland money? Is that what you have? Okay.
I'll pay for World.
You'll pay for Disney World? Is that what you'll do?
We,
Good.
me, deserve Disney World.
You know, I've never been to Disney World. I have never been to Disney World.
I think I'm passed out, Father. I will sleep on top of the car.
Oh shit, you're not going to. Okay.
Yeah, we should go to a haunted house.
All right, chat, we gotta leave. Okay, we will find somewhere to go in a bit. First, we gotta leave this before the people approach.
Gene, the flock called. They want you to pick up McDonald's on the way back.
Why does the flock want McDonald's? Okay, we will pick up McDonald's for the flock, okay?
Hey, let's go to Legoland. Though I don't think they would allow me in since I have fins now. Maybe we can go to the aquarium.
It's fine. Sometimes you have fins. That's just something that happens every once in a while, you know?
Father, why are there a bunch of fins approaching us in the water?
It's fine. We got this. Let me just. I will fix this. We'll be fine.
Disney World. Disney World. Disney World.
Give me a second. Okay, we're driving. We're just going to drive. It's going to be fine. We're leaving.
Everyone is
we're
the
leaving
children of
beach.
Gene. And then there is me, the child of Vanya. Vanya is my father. And Gene is the weird uncle.
That is fair. I am a weird uncle. I wonder if we can actually watch a video of us going through the aquarium. It'll be fine. Okay, 1 second while I fix this. Give me a second, chat. I'm going to remove that. There we are. Okay. Look, Night Blossom. If we have to leave you in the aquarium, that's okay. We can do that. Why do you want to visit Pyramid Head? He will kill you. Chat, do you want to walk through a haunted house together? Should we go through a haunted house?
Universal has Halloween Horror Nights.
Okay, we are going to go through a haunted house together. And moment, please. What was this? What the hell?
Guys, don't worry. I stole Gene-Unk wallet and credit card. Let's go all to Disney World without him.
No, don't go to Disney World without me. Don't go to Disney World without me.
Can someone carry my I'm stuck in the mermaid tail?
Okay, that card is getting declined. It's fine. It's fine if it gets declined. All right. We are going to go to a haunted
Father,
house
I
together.
crave violence.
So we're going to go to the other scene. Give me a second. There's a lot of burgers on this scene. Oh, okay. 1 sec. Don't worry about that secret hand in the front. Okay.
Father, I found $1 million on the floor.
There we go. Okay. Okay.
Dad, Addie stole my milkshake.
Don't steal the milkshake. I have this. We're going through a haunted house together, chat. Where is it? Okay, that's the wrong one. There we are. All right, chat. Haunted house time. Are you ready? All right, chat. It's time to go.
Okay, Father. I have snuck a police officer walkie, but I think there's a tracker in it. And it tastes funny while trying to eat it.
Don't eat the tracker. We're just gonna go to the spooky house. It's fine. It's fine. Spooky house together. I like these guys. Look at these guys. Okay, I want to actually go in the haunted house, so we're going to scoot forward. Here we are. Alright, here we go. Don't be scared. It's nothing scary here.
Father, I'm scared.
Ah! Sorry, it's nothing scary. Don't worry about it. It's fine. We are in a car. It's safe here. Oh, wait a second. There's no sound, is there? One second, chat. I must fix the sound. I must fix the sound. It will be fine. It will be fine. Ein Moment, please. Ein Moment.
Since we're in a car, we can run over the freaky people things, right?
Yeah, of course we can ride over them. Okay, you lost Gary. Oh, that one's creepy. Don't let them grab you.
Father, someone grabbed me through the window. Help!
I will beat them up. I like Sam Man just screams. I like people who play along with these. They're great. Oh no, I'm so scared. Oh, I could stop this now, probably. Don't shoot the actors, chat. No shooting actors. I like the back mask. Put the gun away, chat. Mm-hmm. Put the guns away. It's fine. It seems very spooky, chat. Very spooky indeed. Oh, that's fine.
Can I go
No,
with them,
don't
Gene?
go with them.
They told me to follow them. They're pulling me out of the car.
Do not go with them. Do not go with them. Stay out in here. Stay in here, chat. It's okay. If it gets too scary, let me know if you want to stop. Damn, I'm still doing still doing the voice. All right, now we're back. I'm normal. Chat, do we want to go play dollies with them? No, hey, no. Now what? We
Father,
can
they are
sacrifice one
trying
of the
to
random people.
sacrifice me.
Don't let them sacrifice you, chat. I don't know. It's fine. The fish wasn't alive. We don't need Gary. Gary's fine.
I'm falling out, Gene.
Get back in the car. No shooting.
Don't worry, chat. I have the anti-monster blanket. You can hide under it. They legally can't do anything.
It is true. They cannot do anything to you if you're under the monster blanket. They're not allowed to do anything to you if you're under the monster blanket. It is facts. It's true. It's kind of dark. Wait, chat. I think my eyes are closed. Can somebody turn the lights back on? They ate Gary. I can't believe you let them eat Gary. Why would you let them do that? Vouching. Thank you for touching me. Thank you for touching me. It's fine.
Father, I was sacrificed and am now a demon. What do I do?
Don't be a demon. Don't be a demon. Try not being a demon.
Right spot, buddy. In the right spot.
Yes. I kind of like this one. Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss. He didn't kiss him. This was a great idea, chat. Thank you for suggesting this idea. This is amazing.
Is that for real?
Is that for real?
It's not over. It's not over at all.
Don't eat them. Don't eat them. No eating people.
Don't go into the... Oh my god.
I love haunted houses. They don't really scare me, but like I like going with other people who do get scared. You know? Okay, just can we pretend we didn't break his nose? Because then we're gonna have to pay for it, and I don't have any more money. I'm kind of broke at this point. Oh, now somebody's singing Elfin Lied. We'll find it,
Father,
Moreau.
I need to find my soul to become human again, but I lost it.
Just go get changed.
Ooh. Amazing. I like this one. You don't know how many I go to of these that are like super short and you just like, you're through them. You spend more time in the line than getting in.
It's so dark here. I can't see
This I
anything.
like.
Oh my god, look at it.
Boo.
What's happened to you?
Look at my face.
This is pretty much what they're like. Oh, chat. We're actually coming up close to the end of stream. So let's come hang out. We're going to hang out for a little while. Thank you for the head pats. All right. It's fine.
Father, what the hell is happening? I just wake up from my nap, and why does everyone have gun except for me? I want one.
Well, you don't need a gun. Do you need a gun? Why would you need a gun? It's fine. You don't need a gun. Why would you need a gun? Okay. Well, lovelies. We're going to hang out a little bit longer in the car before we come to an end. But have you all enjoyed our little car ride today? Hanging out, vibing? I had fun. I need to play Cult of the Lamb. You know what? I think that's going to be on the list. I'll definitely play Cult of the Lamb at some point. I don't have a gun, but I want one too. Fine. We're in America. We can get you all one eventually. We'll do the integration. It'll be fine. Dad, I flew up. Don't throw up. Driving in my car right after a beer. Driving in my car right after a beer. Hey, that bump is shaped like a deer. DUI, now how about you die? I drive 100 miles an hour. I'm not British. I'm British. Is it illegal? I'm not drinking. What do you mean I'm drinking? No. I would never drink, especially not near the edge of the road. Hi.
Father, it seems that now that I'm a demon, I cannot go further than 15 feet away from you.
Okay, we're good. It's fine. What do you? I didn't know it was good. It's fine. It's okay. Don't fall out of the car again. I'm leaving them. Where's the tree? Well. No. Grab him. Keep him in the car. You're not allowed to leave. Dude. Oh, okay, wait, we're fine. We're fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Oh, do we leave? Do we leave? Do we leave Gary? Do we leave Gary in the car?
Guys, we made it the whole stream without being caged.
Oh, you
Good job,
did.
everyone.
So impressive. I'm so proud of you. Oh, wait. I don't. How does this work? I don't. How? Am I caged now? Are we all caged? I'm confused. Where did it come from? I'm sure it's fine, chat. I'm sure it's fine. There's nothing we should. The food's outside of the cage. Or the food's on your side of the cage. Oh, this was a lot of fun. I did have fun, chat.
Gene, did you steal a police car?
Oh, that's why the police have been following us.
I'm still stuck in mermaid form. I'm gonna dry out and die. Father Gene is going to be the death of me.
You know, it could have been worse. It could have been worse, chat. Well,
Father, I can phase through the bars of the cage now. My new powers are awesome. I might just stay a demon.
you know what? It's not the worst thing that's ever happened. Should we? We should find somebody to raid. All right, chat. Who should we raid? We have some choices. Desync. Wait, what are they? What do they do? Are they cool? It's an advertisement. We're gonna have to wait till the advertisement's over. But I want to know if they're cool. Does anybody have anybody new and cool? I'm talking about like 30 to 80 viewers. I want to raid somebody. I want to raid somebody cool and new. I guess we can raid Desync. Lucy Finn? Oh, well, I mean, they're not live, so it really doesn't help me, does it? Kura. Okay, we're gonna check out people. I'm gonna go with the person. Who's this? Isaka. I know what she's say. I like the name Hootie Hoot. Hootie Hoot VT.
English dub is always so overdramatic.
Wait, what are they talking about? They seem cool. Okay, we're gonna raid into this person. I've never heard of them before. The person, this person. And the raid message is gonna be. There we go, chat. Driving in my car right after a beer. Unless we want to actually do the full thing. Wait, see. Let's see what time we have.
Japanese dub, yeah. Fake weeb? What do you mean? Have I missed one? I've only watched one of the vestiges.
Here we go, chat. There's the new raid message.
I already watched one of them, and I have.
All right. This was a lot of fun, chat. Thank y'all for coming on this drive with me. We'll have to do this more often. So copy that raid message. And I will see you all tomorrow morning at the usual time for some poetry and some Minecraft. And mwah, thank y'all for being as amazing as you were today. Really, it was a nice recharge today. Bye-bye, lovelies. Mwah.